Life doesn't stop when the workday ends. On True HR Beyond the Office, Shannon Clark Johnston tackles topics that affect our lives in and out of the workplace, with conversations on mental health, reinvention, self-empowerment, and more. We share actionable insights to inspire meaningful growth. Join us for candid insights and guidance to help you build resilience, create balance, and thrive with confidence in all areas of your life.
On this episode of True HR Beyond the Office, we're diving into a fascinating topic that goes way beyond what we wear. Imagine stepping into your closet and seeing not just clothes, but tools that can elevate your mood, shape how others perceive you, and remind you of who you truly are. Today's guest, Katie Kabel, is here to show us how personal styling can do exactly that. Katie has styled clients from London to Los Angeles, working on everything from red carpet events to major keynote addresses. But for her, the real joy comes from helping women feel confident and empowered during some of life's most challenging transitions. Katie's journey to becoming a personal stylist is inspiring. With a background in the arts and fashion retail, she found a way to combine her passion for creativity and her natural ability to connect with others. Through Kabel Styles, launched in 2018, Katie has continued her training in personal styling and image consulting, earning certifications from top institutions like FIT and the International Image Institute. She's even shared her expertise as a co-author in Divorce Decoded, where she wrote about reclaiming identity through personal style after divorce. In this episode, Katie will reveal what personal styling really is, why it's not just for celebrities, and how working with a stylist can transform how you see yourself in the world around you. So let's jump in and learn from Katie how personal styling can support confidence, emotional well-being, and self-discovery. Welcome, Katie.
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. This is a fun topic.
It is a fun topic. Yeah.
Love it. Even someone who's not Kim Kardashian can take advantage of personal styling.
Yes,
right?
Of course. Yes. Yes, of
Good.
course.
Well, tell us a little bit. What is it really? Like when we say, oh, you're a personal stylist, what do you do? What can people expect? Start at the beginning.
Okay. Well, the first question is, what is personal style, right? So personal style is the way that we put our clothes together, our hairstyle, if we're applying makeup, all of our accessories, and it creates a story, creates that kind of front page or that cover of who we are on the inside. So our personal style allows us to communicate who we are without exchanging any words. So that's why personal style is crucial in helping us move forward in our personal lives, our professional lives. And so as a personal stylist and an image consultant, I work with primarily women, but I do work with men as well. And I help them achieve their personal goals by using their wardrobe to align with their values. That will allow them to kind of magnetize their potential and connect with those that will help move them forward.
So that's such a nice explanation. I don't think a lot of people look at how they present themselves and think, oh, how does this align with my values? But it probably inherently does in many cases.
Yes, right? Correct. So think about how our values come from our culture, our religion, where we've grown up, our life experiences, and all of those then create our values. And then in return, our values then are a part of our personality, and they also come out through our wardrobe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, what are we doing? And we're putting on something every morning. Most people, I mean, unless
right.
Colony, and I guess that's a whole other story. So you're putting on something, and it's what you think of yourself essentially, and what you're presenting to the world. And so, as a stylist, you work with people who want to, I suppose, potentially change their style, or what is your typical client like? Is it someone looking for a big change, or someone just kind of wanting to refresh, or both?
Right. I think it's both, but a lot of the women that I work with are professional women who have put everything else first in their life, okay?
We do that as women.
Yes, we do. We are nurturers, and we take care of everybody else. And you and I have talked about this, that personal style and caring about what you put on your body is another form of self-care, right? So a lot of women who come to me are at the stage of their life, they're done having children, they're professional women, and they're like, I don't know what's happened.
What's happened to me?
It's been a decade.
Yeah.
And I'm still wearing things that I bought maybe post-college.
Yeah, I hate everything I have.
I hate everything. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I should be wearing. I just feel really lost. Like I'm looking in the mirror and I'm not connecting with what I see anymore.
Yeah.
And so they kind of come to me as a 911 situation. And it's an interesting conversation because I always say, what is that straw that broke the camel's back?
Yeah.
And they're just like, you know what? It's just time. I'm ready to invest in myself, invest in my career, and just love feeling good in my body and in my clothes again.
So what would you say to someone who says, well, that's an inside job, Katie? Like, I mean, what are clothes going to do for that, right? Like, I mean, if someone's really feeling stuck and they feel maybe even depressed, how would clothes help that?
Okay. Great point. Obviously, there's a lot of internal work that we have to do, right? If you are really struggling, I'm never going to be your therapist.
I don't know, maybe.
a little bit, And I do say, we talk a lot about retail therapy, but I'm like, if you really are turning to retail therapy, then there really is something else.
That's a different kind of therapy.
Right? So there is something else going on there.
Yeah.
But the way that clothes can help us, I always say it's a tool, right? You can have a successful life. You can be fulfilled without being stylish. It's another tool that we can utilize to help us propel ourselves to just make that better version of ourselves.
Well, and I think there's being stylish, and then there's just being like who you want to be, right?
Right.
Sometimes I think, to your point, these stories where women, they've raised their children, maybe they go off to college or what have you, and they just don't feel good. They're not even looking. It's not like they want to be supermodels. They just want to mix it up a little bit.
Right.
So it probably varies, like the spectrum of what your work is about.
Of course.
Right?
Like we talked about, I have worked with women who are walking the red carpet, and that's fashion styling. That's a little bit different. I'm predominantly working with your everyday woman who just has not educated themselves or, given themselves the time to figure out what works for them. And many of them come to me feeling embarrassed or guilty, like, I just don't know what looks good to me.
Right.
I don't know what's stylish right now. And I always say, don't feel bad about that. You are giving 100% to other things. You can only give 100% to so many things, right?
Right.
So that's where I step in because this is what I do. This is what I have dedicated my time to, right?
Yeah.
I'm not dedicating my time to many other things.
Right.
So that's where I step in.
Yeah.
And helping them, okay, let's get really clear here.
Yeah, how does it work?
Yes.
So you get a client who's like, just as we described, or let's just use an example. Someone's children have gone off to school, they're empty nest, and they're sort of looking at themselves and they're saying, something's got to change here, I need to spend some time. Where do you start with that?
Where do we start? So we start with a nice consultation. I want to know about what your goals are. I want to know what your personality is. How do you describe yourself? How do others describe you? We talk about what are some of the favorite pieces in your wardrobe that you already have because let's look to those few couple of pieces that are constantly on repeat because they're great indicators of really what your style is.
Yeah, like why do you like them?
Why do you like them? Let's get really clear. Is it because you love flowers? We talked about that. You love floral prints. You love rough leaf sleeves. Or you love everything black because it's simple, it's easy, it's utilitarian. You love the versatility.
Right.
So we start there.
Yeah.
And then we start to take a look at what is this image you want to project, right? What do you want to show to the world? What do you want people to know about you? And there's a lot of science and psychology about color and design. So I use that too when I'm helping to curate a woman's wardrobe.
Oh, tell me about the color part.
Oh, gosh, I get crazy
yeah, I know you like
color.
the color.
Okay. So I was recently certified in being a color analyst. It's been a few years now, so I always do a color analysis on my clients. But beyond knowing what colors look pretty to us, there is so much research and proven research about color psychology. I mean, that is why people like McDonald's, their marketing and budget like that, millions and millions of dollars to figure out what colors are we going to use.
Right.
And there is a strong correlation between color and our mood and our thought and the way we behave. It's like we almost can take on the energy of that color. So to give a good example, prior to COVID, the favorite color was, it was like red or green, kind of like a bright,
very
cheery
bright,
color, right? And then post-COVID, the favorite color became blue because everyone needed to feel calm, serenity, soothed, peaceful. So, for instance, if you're feeling really agitated and on edge, you might want to go towards a green or a turquoise or a blue. Or just the opposite, if you didn't get enough sleep and you're dreading, going into the day ahead of you, it might be a good time to put on a yellow or an orange or something
to
that
lift the mood.
Lift the mood, yes. Okay. I mean, it's no surprise that athletes typically are wearing red because that's a very energetic, it's a fire sign. So you see a lot of athletes wearing red.
This makes sense because I know when I was renovating my kitchen and I used a designer, we talked a lot about color in the house. And so I think, you might know this, don't quote me, but I think orange did actually energize, and like you wouldn't want it, for example, in a bedroom, but like in a kitchen or somewhere where you wanted energy, that could be good.
Yes, and orange is a very social color too. It helps to promote socialization and communication. So, if you're going to a party and you want people to come up and talk to you, you might consider wearing orange.
Oh, good pro tip. Okay.
Yeah.
We have to save some dating tips for the end.
Exactly.
Great. So you start with this consultation. What is the person like? What do they not like? What are they wearing? Where are they at? Kind of, with what they want to accomplish, I would imagine.
Exactly.
And then what are some of the things that you do? Do you start trying to work with what they have? Do you immediately say, listen, you need X, Y, Z? What's the process like?
Yeah, well, typically then we move into the closet because, the closet is a really important space.
It is.
Right?
Yes.
We move into the closet because I want the closet. The first thing we do in the morning, or one of the first things we do in the morning, is we get dressed, right? Mm-hmm. And I want that to be a holistic, empowering, comforting, energizing experience.
Yeah, not stressful.
Right,
like
not
where
stressful.
It probably is. Right.
Right. Because a lot of women open up and see a sea of ugh, right? So I always say, let's get rid of the dead weight, okay? Because half the time, if we have too much in there, then we can't even see our clothes, right? And let's just get rid of that bad juju. Get rid of the bad energy, things that are not the right size, things that you haven't worn in 5 years, things that you're holding on to just because, or perhaps they represent, a job that you got, let go from, or, a past relationship,
true.
right?
You're right. You sometimes, you always think of a person or a bad, and when you look at certain pieces, but you keep them anyway.
Right. For some reason, you keep them anyway. Right, because a lot of us feel guilty about maybe throwing something away, or getting rid of something that we spent a lot of money on, or maybe someone gave us a gift. But let's really think about, is that doing you any justice? You're not wearing it anyway, right? So it's just perceived value. It's really not giving you any value or benefit to your life.
Right.
So we always start with the closet. So let's really just remove anything that is not supporting our goals, right? Not making us feel good. It's not functioning for our lifestyle. It's not making us feel good. And it's not fitting. And then from there, we kind of create the outline. Okay, where do we want to go from here? What are these pieces that we feel we need to bring in now to help you elevate your wardrobe, help you attain those goals that you want to meet.
So I can imagine if, let's say, it's a woman who, wants to start dating, like we've been talking about, and maybe feels she doesn't have anything in her closet. So you start to build that. But then have you had a situation where someone says, oh, I want to, let's say, for example, I want to go out and I want to look really sexy and I want to date and I want to do this, but they really are having difficulty, like maybe they've overshot where they really feel comfortable with. Like, do you have to sometimes work with that and like what they perceive they might want, but what they really, really, really are?
Yeah, so that's really interesting that you say that, because I'm actually working with a client right now who we were looking at some of the clothes in her closet, and I was saying to her, I'm getting this vibe, this feeling from you, and the clothes that you're wearing are not matching your energy. And she said, yeah, I don't like this. I was trying to be funky or different, or I saw it on the mannequin, right? And especially now when we have so much influencing, right? So much advertising constantly. Buy this, look at this, look at this. It's easy to get overwhelmed and be like, oh, that's so cute. I want to wear that. It was cute on that person, right? Because that matched.
I was influenced again.
That matched their energy, right? And I said, listen, she's like, I feel like I need to be. And she said that several times. And I'm like, you don't need to be anything other than what you are. And that is why your clothes don't feel good to you. Just be who you are. And we're going to dig into that and then just, see how far we can go into being that true self.
Maybe you are a therapist. I don't know. Maybe you have dual degree or something.
Maybe. I mean, I'd love to go back to school.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of times so much pressure to be something else, something we feel like society is telling us we should be in whatever role that is in life. And so I said, I just feel like some of these things are not making sense to me. And I'm like, I don't think we need to go down this route. I think you need to kind of go down this route.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's do it and let's see how it feels. Let's try some of these pieces on.
Right.
And see how it feels.
And how's it going?
So we haven't gone shopping yet.
Okay.
I was just with her in her consultation in her closet yesterday, but I'm feeling pretty good. I think she's going to feel very empowered when we shift some of these design aesthetics.
Yeah. Well, this is fun, and I know we're not naming names or anything. So, do you have a client that you've worked with who just really surprised you? Like you show up and they're kind of wearing sweats, and they end up they want to be a total bombshell, and anything, or is it usually pretty much sync up? Does it sync up with what you thought it would be?
I can't.
Or maybe one that was hard, like someone that you were like, look, I'm really trying to push, and they just couldn't get there.
Honestly, I maybe it's because what I put out there, back, right?
Yeah.
So I am very honest with people when we're talking in the beginning. I give them realistic expectations.
I think it would be hard though, because like, let's say they want to wear something that you're like, that is not working, and I don't want them walking around telling everyone they came to me looking like that. Do you ever have that thing where they're trying to wear something that's just not, and you can't?
No, I have to say I'm a pretty honest person.
And maybe that's part of how you set expectations, right? Like, look, I'm here to provide this value to you, and I'm going to tell you what I think.
Right. Well, listen here. At the end of the day, you're paying me to give me my objective professional opinion.
Right.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
Whether it's your money, right?
Yeah.
It's up to you whether you want to take it or not. But that's why I've never had that issue, because I feel like when women come to me, they are coming from a place of acceptance.
They're ready.
Right? Okay, this is where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready. I'm open, right? And I always say that, like, the best relationships, you have to be ready. You have to come from a place of acceptance and ready to just kind of be open-minded.
Right. Well, I was reading, preparing for this episode, and I think I read that it's something like 93% of communication is nonverbal, which is interesting for people who are just listening to this episode. But it's true what you sort of started out saying, which is this how we present ourselves to the world. So what are we really saying? Like, what are we saying when we wear a jacket or a suit jacket? Are we saying something when we wear jeans? Does it depend on the situation? Are there some sort of hard and fast rules that you recommend for people? Like, if you're going to give a presentation, you should wear this or that. Are there any sort of tips you would give to communicate that nonverbal part of you?
Okay, so I don't think there are any hard set rules. I think reality is you need to read the crowd and you need to do your homework. So for instance, if you're going into a job interview, right, you need to do a little bit of research, find out about the corporate culture. If you can do a little research on the person that's interviewing you, and try to align your personal style to some degree, right? Because you don't want to just completely give in.
Yeah.
You're right. You want to show a little bit of your personality and flair, and obviously within a certain
parameters of,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Within a certain different work setting.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, if you're in the creative field, you're going to want to show a lot more of your personal flair.
Right.
Whereas if you're going into, for finance or law,
Right.
there's stricter expectations there. But because when you align your style with your crowd, what that does is it says, I get you. You're one of my people. We're going to understand each other. So I talk about first dates too, right? So you might want to maybe just try to figure out, is this person always in jeans and a t-shirt? And if you're always wearing a 3-piece suit, maybe, I would just say, scale it back a bit. Maybe leave the jacket at home, right? So you always want to be true to yourself. And I do that when I'm meeting with my clients. So if I'm meeting with a client that's a lawyer, I will wear something different than if I'm, working with a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Because if I show up in a suit and this woman, is a stay-at-home mom,
like vomit on her shirt, she's gonna be like, this is not.
This is ridiculous,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, you will not understand me at all. But if I'm working with someone who is wearing a suit every day, I'm not going to show up in jeans and a t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
So I cater my style. Of course, it's still my style. It's my clothes, right? But I cater my style to my client.
So you're bringing up a memory of mine from years back. It was like sort of my first big corporate interview. And I showed up and I had, in those days, Oprah was on TV and she had those Oprah suits, right? And they were like power suits with, the 3 buttons and things. And I had that, and I had my hair up in sort of like a twist. I had long hair at that time. And the woman walked in to interview me. She literally, it wasn't the same exact outfit. She had her hair up in the same hairstyle. She had the same kind of suit on. And I was like, oh, I've got this. and I did. I did get the job. It was so funny.
Great example.
Yeah, and we actually ended up being good friends. And I know it's funny because this is resonating with me on a couple different levels. When I used to be a corporate trainer, the workplace has changed. And so it was always like I would never give a presentation without a suit. And often pantyhose, those were still a big thing, right? And in the egg or in the package, however you received those pantyhose. And
torture.
Total torture. And now, if I showed up like that, in most corporate cultures, not all, they would be like, oh, come on, get over yourself, right? Like, you have to kind of meet people where they are within, as you say, your own sort of boundaries or of what you like. So that's really important to remember. So it's sort of like mirror in a way within your style.
Exactly.
Okay. So
you can dial it up or dial it down, right?
Right. Let's talk about affordability, because I think that probably one of the number one things people think about, or might be thinking about as we're talking, like, well, this is still going to be way out of my budget. Not to quote prices or anything, but to say, what are the different ways in which people could work with you or any stylist? Is it like, I think people might picture like, I have to have you on like a monthly retainer, or I have to do, and what are some of the different common ways stylists will work? Is it like a one-off? Is it a multi-session kind of arrangement? And in your world and sort of who you work with, how would you rate kind of the affordability of it all?
Right. So I work with women, quite often women, it might just be a one-off, right? Like they just need a little bit of that information to get them going. And then quite often I will work with women. Usually on average, I will work with women 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
So I'll work with them one season and we'll do, like fall, winter, and we'll do the work, clean out the closet, get really clear on what we like, what our style is, what our goals are. And then we do a big shopping for that season. And then usually the following season comes spring, summer. We then just, tidy it up, fill it in a little bit. Right. And then I like to think, because I love to educate, I really want to give women the information they need so that they feel confident in making their own choices after we work together. Like, listen, if someone wants to work with me every 3 months, I'm not going to say no to that, obviously. But I do feel like a lot of my clients say to me after we've worked together 1 or 2 times, I refer back to the style guides you gave me. I hear your voice, when I'm looking online. Wear this, not that. This is your color. Wear this for this type of event.
Right.
And I make it really clear because I think a lot of women get lost is there's no why behind their want. They just start shopping and oh, this is pretty. Oh,
it's
this
on
is
sale.
on sale. Oh, I like this, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, we're not buying things because we like it.
Yeah.
We're buying something because we need it. And something I always do for myself is I start a wish list, right? And my wish list usually comes from what did I not have last season that I kept going for and I thought, oh, I really need this. I really need this. So that's going to be on my wish list for the next time around.
Yeah. You're so right, though, because thinking of these boots I bought, it was the Nordstrom sale, and I'd wanted tall boots. And they're great. I don't know what I'm going to wear them with. I have nothing to wear them with. I mean, and I'm like, now I'm searching for things to buy to go with the boots that I bought. And like that, I don't know if I'm going to wear at all.
Right. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah. And then you just and then to your point, then you might buy something that isn't, it's just to go with the boots. It's not necessarily me.
Right.
Right. So then it just becomes like a circle of distress.
A circle of distress. Well, it reminds me of something else too that I often talk about is buy the best clothing that you can afford.
Yeah.
Okay. I am beginning to educate myself more about how clothing impacts the environment. Okay, there is so much waste.
Yes.
And when we spend more money on our clothes, we love it more because it was something we really wanted and we'll take better care of it. It's probably a better fabric, so it's going to hold up better. And I'll give myself as an example. There was a pair of boots that I had my eye on by a designer for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I want these boots. I want these boots. I want these boots. And it's something that's always in her collection year after year. And I had such sticker shock. In the meantime, I bought 3 pairs of, rip-offs.
Right.
So had I bought the pair that I really wanted,
Yep.
I may have spent $100 more in the end. But I have worn them, I have resold them, I have Scotch guarded, I have done everything to protect them, and they have gotten so many miles.
Yeah.
So
it's an investment piece, right? We call those investment pieces.
Yeah, but just in general, when we buy the best clothes that we can afford, we're going to think twice about it, and it becomes more precious to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I will say that I know of you and your work is that I think people also envision with personal styling, like, oh my God, you're going to take them to like the Saks high-end, designer, and it's got to be that or nothing, and they're not even going to be able to afford what you recommend. And that's not the reality. I mean, I know that you shop at various levels and stores, and so I think it's very accessible to, let's say, your average sort of working career person in terms of how you operate. I don't know that everyone operates that way.
Right.
But I think you're sort of very, real. And I know that you've shared with me, you'll style people who'll say, I just want you to style me a bunch of workout outfits.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like a very targeted kind of experience. So I think that's another piece that might be missing for people, that I can call you for one sort of event or one sort of focused area, or it's not this kind of shishi, untouchable experience.
No, exactly. And a lot of women, I work with all price ranges. I was like, one of the questions I always ask is, where do you shop?
Right.
Right? So I'm not going to be forcing you, we have to be honest with each other, right? So I will shop everywhere from, Gap all the way up to Neiman Marcus or specialty stores.
Right.
But as far as like my fees go, the thing is that once you work with me, that is a lifetime of information.
Well, I was going to say that because I think that, you educate people, as you've indicated, on colors. So once you know, like, quote unquote, your colors or what works best on you, you know it.
It's
not going to change.
It's not going to change.
Yeah.
No.
And in terms of like what's more flattering. So it is an educational experience versus a one-time, here's an outfit, goodbye.
Exactly. Yeah. It's an educational experience. It's information that will not change.
Right.
You're going to have it for years and years. It's kind of like, if a designer were to come in and design your kitchen, that is going to be a lot of money, right? But you're going to have that kitchen now for 20, 25 years that you're going to walk into every day and be like, I am so thankful that I made that investment, right?
No, absolutely. Well, this is so fun. I could talk about this all day. But I always like to leave with a couple of tips for the audience. What are a couple of tips you'd give them, either about personal styling or just tips about how they can dress a certain way to evoke a certain feeling or image, or whatever you'd like to share?
Yeah, so we already touched upon this. If you feel like you don't know where to go, you've completely lost touch with your personal style, start with what you already have. Mm-hmm. So take a look at your favorite 3 or 4 pieces and really give them a name or a description, or specifically, what is it about that piece? You like the way that it highlights your shoulders. You like, you love the print. You love that you can throw it in the wash, right? Mm-hmm. So really get clear on what is it about those, and you're going to be able to start connecting the dots, okay? And the other thing is if you have a lot of clothes that you have in your closet, the average woman wears 80% of the time, she's wearing only 20% of her clothes.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah, so
I believe that.
Take out, and some women are just like, I just can't throw it out, right? If that's just too much for you, like, I just can't get rid of it, start by just taking it out of your eyesight, right? Anything that you haven't worn for at least 2 years, take it out.
2 years.
2 years, so 2 seasons, right? 2 fall winters, right? If you haven't worn it in 2 seasons, it's very unlikely that you're going to wear it. Take it out, box it up, and put it someplace far away, the opposite side of the house, so it's just out of sight, so then you can start to see what I have in my closet. The other thing that I like to talk about, and is a fun little thing, will help you get clear on what you're wearing all the time. So let's say you have your hanging closet, right? You have all these pieces here. Every time you wear something, you put it in the front. Every time you wear something, put it in the front. Keep putting it in the front.
So you can see your repeats.
You can see your repeats, right? At the end of the season, then you're going to see all these things that you didn't wear. And then write down, why didn't I wear this? I didn't like the way it looked on me. I had nothing to wear with it. It made me feel itchy. Whatever reason, and put a little stick-it note on it. Bring it back the next season. And then just keep tabs on, can we fix this issue?
Right.
And if we can't,
let's end it.
Let's
end
end
the relationship.
Right.
And it's true because it keeps it in front of your face. I think, like, I know I've done it with clothes, but recently I did it with lipstick, where I bought the same lipstick. I bought like literally 2 weeks before, because I just was like throwing them into this like one drawer, and and then when I went to take it back, she was like, oh, is there anything wrong? I'm like, I literally bought it 2 weeks ago. So keeping something front and center and organized in such a way that you can see that is a great idea.
Right. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for the tips.
You.
Thanks for joining us. Where can people get in touch with you?
Yes, you can get in touch with me through my website, kabelstyles.com.
It's Kabel.
Yes, Kabel styles.com, or feel free to email me, Katie, Katie, at kabelstyles.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
Katie.
you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to True HR Beyond the Office. We hope today's episode inspired new ways for you to find fulfillment and purpose in your personal and professional life. If you found value in our conversation, let's keep it going. Follow us on social media and visit us at shannonclarkjohnston.com to explore free tools, resources, and more about our speaking, coaching, and consulting services.